Shoots and Ladders, episode 3. Welcome. Today's a very special episode. We have Nick Bateh. He's only 25 years old, and he's the founder of RiverCitywrestlingcon.
It's always an honor. I just enjoyed catching up with you guys after the convention. It seemed like a fun show.
How'd you come with the idea of the convention?
Yeah, so originally it all started, I was studying at Florida State College Jacksonville, so often called FSCJ. And we had the student organization that was like geek focused. So they tasked me with planning the college's first ever Comic Con because they saw the success of a lot of local ones. They're just like, hey, we want one of these types of events here. So I got with, my organization. I sought some, outside consulting, and then I got in touch with some wrestlers. I had Leva Bates come out and John Davis, who wrestled in the main event of our Sunday show this year. And ever since then, I just saw the success of that, and I thought, maybe I could do something that's like wrestling based, and that's where the idea came from.
I'm just so intrigued. How do you seek out the talent or the guests? Do you have contact with their manager or their PR team? Is it a direct contact with the talent, or how do you come about that?
So at first, I had to go through a lot of agents. I still do. I work with a lot of agencies to acquire talent, but over time, I've built up direct contact with certain wrestlers, and it's made the process a bit easier.
Can you just walk us through what the planning process is? I'm sure there are a lot of different steps.
So, event planning and logistics is primarily like the bulk of the work in marketing. There's a lot of marketing that's involved. So it's kind of like the convention part is like the easiest, but then everything else, like, the marketing, getting in touch with, different organizations we work with, and then just kind of, tying it all together at the end. That's really the bulk of the work there.
How many different organizations are kind of involved?
We have a very good rapport with St. Johns County ever since we moved the event down there. So we coordinate a lot with Florida's Historic Coast. They're kind of like they work with the Tourism Development Council to kind of promote the destination of St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra and other areas in St. Johns County. So we do a lot of planning with them to make sure that we're saying the right things about St. Johns County, to make sure that we're elevating it appropriately in congruence with the convention. So we took Jack Talos, who's like one of he wrestles every year, but he's 7 feet tall. And we have Simon Says, who's our lead trivia master. And we took them around different areas of St. Augustine, and they filmed Instagram reels with them. And like, they just fell in love with just that dynamic of those two. And then we're hoping to do more of that next year. But that's just kind of an example of how we kind of work with the local area to kind of make sure that we're promoting the area the best way we can.
Nice. And what's really cool about that, it seems like they're very, very supportive. It seems to be like a long-term partnership with St. Johns County, right?
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm hoping to achieve. I think we've definitely made a big impact on the community, especially Bucky's, which is right beside the convention center. But it's just kind of amazing to see like how the talent and everybody responded, because even Trish Stratus, she still posts pictures from her time in St. Augustine, as do a lot of other wrestlers. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been. I think it's just probably like one of the more like impactful outcomes we've had for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That was the first, this past year was the first year at the World Golf Village. And I love the location. It was easy to get to right off of 95, but I think it's a good spot because it's a mix of right there with Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and Orlando, which is where a lot of talent is. And the fact that the hotel is linked right next to the convention center, I think that's ideal for even fans that want to come and travel and spend the weekend there. I think that's great, and it's great for tourism anyway. So, I know that you've already booked next year's convention at the same location. How soon do you start the whole planning process? Is it a year-round thing where you're just consistently working on projects?
Yeah, it's definitely a year-round thing. I would say, like, if I'm being truthful, I started putting the groundwork for 2025 probably back in like late April this year, like around WrestleMania time. Just that way, because I'm one of those types where it's like I like to have like a blueprint where it's like, even if I can't say like specifically what's going to happen next year, because we always make adjustments after each event, I at least have like a top five of like, here are the top five names I want to bring in. Here's based on the marketing for this year. This is what I want to change. This is what I want to keep. And then after the event, I have, several meetings with my volunteer staff and even, the hotel, and other individuals that were involved just to kind of plan like, okay, logistically, this stays, this goes. So it's kind of like a round the clock thing.
It sounds like so much fun.
It is. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun because you have like it's kind of like live action problem solving. So your brain's constantly in that motion of just like problem solution, and it's easy to see how some get overwhelmed, especially like at first, but once you kind of get used to that energy, it becomes a little bit easier.
All right, let's ask the fun question. Who are some of your most favorite guests that have come through? What are some memorable moments you have?
So I think right off the bat, I'll just plug one of my artists here. His name is Dave Burns. I think one of the most fun moments for this year was I had this idea where every year we have a VIP print. So I decided to change it up, and I'm like, hey, look, the Barbie movie last year was such a big thing. Let's take this concept of Sting and Trish Stratus and let's just parody the Barbie movie poster. And he's like, dude, that sounds so wild, but I bet it's gonna work. So he got it done, and it was like maybe 3 weeks before the event. And I'm just like, because at first I wanted to print them out and like hang them up around town, but it was too close to the show to do it. So by the time he got done with it, I just posted a teaser on Instagram and Facebook where I'm like, hey, this is the VIP print. And everybody loved it. And then Trish actually took it. She made her own post about it.
Oh, no way.
And she started posting it like all over Twitter and Instagram. And it kind of went like semi-viral. Another talent started taking it because I had, like a whole list of names on it. And then some of our hosts of the event were featured on it too. So it all just kind of like turned into like this big like ball of excitement before the event. It kind of gave us that boost. So that was definitely a favorite moment there. But there's so many talent to choose from in terms of just those fun moments. But I think like another one too was Eric Bischoff this year. He had such a good time in St. Augustine, and he took a lot of time because his flight arrived a bit early on Saturday. So he went and explored the old city, and he was just amazed by, just the architecture, the culture, the food. And he went and he did an interview with my associate on Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, and he just went into just a whole lot of detail about his time at the event and the impression it made on him. And there's just so many. I mean, even like the Mickey James Trish and Lita reunion that happened. They took a group photo that made its rounds online, and even like last year, Rob Van Dam has such a great time on Sunday. I mean, there's so many. I keep going here all day with that, but there's like multiple stories from each year where it's just kind of like amazing to see that like just the fans and the excitement of the event just has this type of effect on the wrestlers.
I'm so jealous. And I mean, I go every year and I have a ball and I get it. But I've always wondered, and I thought this before I even connected with you. I was like, so the person who puts this together, do they get any special perks with these guests? Do you get any special one-on-one time, any personal time like dinner or breakfast or any kind of meetup? Or do you get to skip the line and take a picture with them?
It's one of those things where it's like I'm sure if I had the time, running the event, that would definitely be possible. But I think for me, it's more so just making sure that like as a promoter that I'm making sure the fans have the best time with the talent more than myself, just because like one of the things we focus on is making sure the event's family friendly and that the environment's positive for everyone. So like this year we had like a family that dressed up as like different faces of Foley, and they did the costume contest. They got to meet Mick Foley, and like for me, when I see stuff like that happening, it's like, okay, mission accomplished, because that's really what it's all about.
Where do you see this going in the next 5 to 10 years?
I want this to be like an annual destination, where it's like I'm bringing in large commerce to the area. We're having, large scale conversations about, the industry, like wrestling and other subjects that we tap into. I want it to be kind of like the Coachella of like wrestling fandom in a way, if that makes sense. That's kind of like what I see this to be.
Now, another question. Do you plan on expanding to either another city, maybe adding more conventions, or do you prefer to just have it once a year, specifically in St. Johns County?
I think at this time we're kind of keeping it once a year, definitely open to, expanding to other cities, but I want to make sure that I take the necessary time to perfect the model of the event before expanding, because I always fear that expanding too quickly and then it takes away from the core event. So it's just making sure that you get the process down before you take a big leap by that. But it's definitely something that I'm open to.
Please keep it in this area because I usually travel to conventions in Orlando and I like it that it's local. So let's keep it local too.
Yeah, and just because of that, I'm moving it to Daytona. Thank you so much, Desiree.
No, and you know what? I'm so thankful that you've done this because um, I'm a really big wrestling fan, Jason too. And what got me into this was my older brother who actually started going since the first convention. And it's just been so much fun. I look forward to this every year in June. And I always say, like, since the first time I went, it was like a little bit of childhood healing because when I was little, I was watching these guys. And then, as a teenager during like the Attitude Era, you just grow up with these men and then you see them now and they're older and you appreciate them even more. And then you finally get to meet them and have that good meet and greet, good interaction and memory. It just something about it just makes me so happy. So now when I watch old manias or old documentaries, I not only have that nostalgic feeling of, oh, I remember watching this when I was 7, 8 years old, but I also got to hug this man and have this really cool conversation. So thank you so much for putting this together. It's really a dream and it's just so much fun.
No, it definitely means a lot to hear that, especially coming from you, Desiree. But I am curious, just as a fan, like what do you look for in those types, like in my event at least, like what do you look for in that environment?
It's just the whole experience. So from start to finish, I'm there as soon as it starts until the end of the day, and I'm circling over and over, just saying, who is there? I like to look at people far away and, kind of feel them out and be like, okay, I'm ready to meet them. The vendors are amazing. And it's not great for my wallet, but because I not only do I spend a good amount of money and I do save for this year round. So when I know I'm going to meet somebody, I'm like, I'm ready to spend some money. It's okay. It's for me. But when I see those toys and it's vintage or it's something that I can't get my hands on or it's a chase toy, I'm blowing money. So it's great. I love it. And then you have the wrestling ring there and you get to see newer up and coming wrestlers, indies. It's everything. So you get to connect with everyone and then you meet other local wrestling fans who are just as excited. So I love it. Keep it up. But can I give you a list of people
Yeah,
that
go
I
right
would
ahead. We can use this for a soundbite. We should do it. So I like to be more conversational with these types of things. So if you have to edit it out, it's fine. But please just go ahead, give us like a whole list here. I think we're on something now.
I made a list. I appreciate that right after that weekend you sent out like a survey email to the guests for, what can we improve? What is positive feedback? Who would you like to see? And I love the fact that you also added who else would you like to see that is not like an actual wrestler, but wrestling related. So I would love to see those fans and those interviewers, like the celebrity ones like Freddie Prinze Jr. I know he's a big wrestling fan, and I know he would flourish in that. And even interviewers like Chris Van Vliet and even Pat McAfee, I would love. But okay, so I made a list of people that I know that are not realistic, but if I put them out into the universe, one day I will get to meet them and hopefully at your convention. So Shawn Michaels, because he's my guy. Steve Austin, Randy Orton, because I love him so much. Taker, Triple H. Yeah, he might be a little hard to get to. And the McMahons, Shane and Stephanie. I would just love to meet those two. But realistically, okay. Can I really read my list?
Yeah, just seriously, go for it. You have me intrigued now, so I can't say no.
It's a mix. And let me preface this. It's a mix of older and newer AEW, WWE, NXT kind of people. Billy Gunn, just because I missed him 3 years ago, and I'm really upset that I was there and I didn't go up there until I decided to, and then he was packing up, and then I was too scared to go and meet him.
If you don't mind, did you at least catch the Q&A with him and Road Dogg?
No, I missed it.
Oh man, you missed the Q&A too. I have to find footage of that.
So Billy Gunn, I love you so much. Please come. And Paul White, Big Show. The Guns, because I love Colton and Austin Gunn. And I know they were there 3 years ago. I would love for them to come back. Wardlow. I love Wardlow. I know he goes to those conventions up north. He needs to bring his butt down south. Tony Schiavone. I would love to meet him. Rhea Ripley, of course. Bianca Belair. Jade. Rick Steiner.
Yes.
We met them 2 years ago, and he was so excited and fanboyed all out, and he's 46 years old, and I swear he was like a 10-year-old when he met them. So yeah, we would love to have them back. The Nasty Boys. Remember them? Edge. I would love to meet Kevin Nash again. I met him a couple of years ago. I want him back. Stacy Keibler. Tori Wilson. Rey Mysterio. Honky Tonk Man. I haven't met him. I think he would be great to my collection of meet and greets. And I would love Sergeant Slaughter back because I love him so much and he's awesome. And Charles Wright, my guy. And that's it. That's for now.
No, it's a good list. That's a good list. I mean, I won't say who, but I will say a majority of those people are on our list currently. So I'll leave it there. I haven't confirmed anyone yet, but you know, we're definitely doing the research on it.
Okay.
I have a list. I'll keep it very, very short. I'm an ECW.
And watch him pull out the longest list.
That would be hilarious. Off the top of my head, he was on the AEW not too long ago, but I would love to meet Jerry Lynn. And the reason why was during his rivalry hit. I mean, anyone that's a wrestling fan that wants to watch just fun matches, him and Rob Van Dam put on the best matches. It's not the only time. It's one of the very few times I ever seen standing ovations in the middle of the match multiple times. Those matches were the best. I love ECW. So I actually, to be honest, man, any ECW guys that you have there, like I'll probably fanboy over too. Okay, now is actually the time for you to plug in to kind of give a shout outs, give plugs. Who do you want to give shout outs and plugs to?
Yeah, so I mean, I just want to give a shout out. I have like a huge list of names, but I definitely want to give a shout out to everybody that helped out with the event this year. Just our lead volunteer coordinator Steven, the primetime appearances, the team that handled Sting and Trish Stratus, they were exceptional all weekend. All the security staff, everybody that attended. I mean, it was really just an incredible weekend. And even my associate Duke for Duke Loves Wrestling, appreciate the continued support there. And just I feel like I'm leaving out so many people, but I can't just express enough gratitude for every individual person that helped make this event, past events possible, and even St. Johns County, just everybody that had a part in it. So I definitely appreciate all of that, and just definitely keep an eye out. 2025 will be announcing celebrities very soon. Hope to have more event details coming up, and we're going to be announcing the winners of the survey that Desiree brought up. The people that won the free passes will be announcing that very soon. So, there's definitely a lot of plans in the works.
Thank you so much for your time, Nick. Please like, share, and subscribe. On our next episode, we will be doing Who Killed WCW. Thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome day.
Bye, friends.